Hi everybody, welcome back to the channel. Today I'm doing plugs and coil packs on a 2000 Volvo with a 2.4 liter turbo. This car's a little different than the 850s and early V70s because those cars had a distributor with the spark plug wires. This car has the wiring harness running to coil packs on top of the plugs. So if you have this newer style engine, this will be a great video for you to watch. Overall, it took me about an hour to do while filming, which, it takes me longer to set up the shots and things. So if you're experienced, plan for no more than a half hour. If this is your first time doing the job, block off an hour and it'll be more than enough time to knock it out. So let's jump in and go over what you'll need to get it done. Starting with your coils and plugs, I do recommend Bosch or whatever the OEM equivalent is. Next is a T30 Torx, 7mm socket, 8mm socket, 10mm socket, 13mm socket, a 5/8 plug socket, 12mm wrench, a ratchet. A plug ratchet helps, but it's not a must-have. Torque wrench, never sees, and some dielectric grease. Once you remove the small engine cover, the coil packs are right here on top, and it's easier to remove the charge pipe than work around it, so go ahead and take that off too. Go ahead and unplug the wires from the coil packs, and I'm sure you know this, but remember, these are old plastic clips, they're brittle, they're those stupid Euro-style plugs that are really difficult, and the last thing you want is a broken clip and it not holding in correctly for your ignition wires. After that, go ahead and take your 10mm socket, and you can unbolt the coil packs. There's really no need to remember where the wires plug into because they only plug in one way. The way the wiring is, it's all a perfect length, and so you can't mess it up putting it back together. It may take a little force to get the coil pack out, but you can see in the video. Just wiggle it back and forth and pull straight up and it'll pop right out. Now that you have access to the spark plugs, it's time to remove those. Remember to be really careful doing this because you don't want to damage the block in the removal process. Of the cars that I've worked on with coil packs, including this Volvo, you do need that spark plug socket because it's got the little rubber gripper on the inside and it grabs a hold of the plug and you can easily pull it out of the well, especially because these are so deep. I didn't mention it at the beginning of the video, but you probably do need an extension unless you have some really long socket. As far as the ratchet goes, I have this spark plug ratchet because I got it in a lot of tools I bought off Craigslist. You don't need it, but as you can see, having the angle and the articulating head is honestly pretty cool and it came in handy. I've never used one before this job and I honestly really liked it. It's definitely one of those tools that I won't use often, and maybe I'll use it for other things other than a spark plug, but it's cool to have, so if you see one sometime for a good deal, I'd suggest picking it up. It can't hurt to have it in the box. Always make sure that whatever you're putting in matches whatever you took out, unless what you took out is incorrect. In this case, the car had NGK plugs, and while there's nothing wrong with NGKs, I don't like to use them in the Euro cars because it's not what they call for, and I don't want to deal with doing spark plugs and coils twice or having misfires and things like that, so if they call for Bosch, I use Bosch. If they call for something else, that's what I use. But Volvos and Volkswagens, Bosch, it works. Never had a problem with it, so that's what I stick with. I'm not showing it here, but you should check the gap on your spark plugs before you install them. Most come pre-gapped, and these did. I double-checked them, but you should always check it just to be sure. Some plugs come with never sees on them. These did not, so if yours didn't, go ahead and put some on there. The last thing you want is them getting stuck in the block when you go to take them out next time. Now it's time to thread the plugs back in. Again, just like taking them out, you really want to be careful. You don't want to cross thread these, you don't want to mess those threads up or you'll be in a world of hurt. Ideally you do this by hand, but like I mentioned earlier, a car with these deep wells like this, you can't. So I put the plug in the socket with the extension and I just make sure I go really slow and steady and I don't put any pressure on it. I let the spark plug thread itself in. I have seen some guys use a section of rubber hose. They slip it over the top of the spark plug and you use that to thread it in. And I think either method works. I've never done the rubber hose method, but if that makes you feel more comfortable, go ahead and do that too. Once all the plugs are hand tight, it's time to go back and torque them up. It's 30 Newton meters for Europeans or 22 foot-pounds for all of us Americans. Once you're all set with the plugs, it's time to reinstall the coil packs. I'm doing this off screen, but you do want to put some dielectric grease into the coil pack. I just squirt a little bit into the coil pack itself and then just push it into the well and onto the spark plug. You can plug the coil packs back in, bolt them down. Don't kill it with the bolts. You know when you took them out that they're not that tight, so just snug them up and they're good to go. And hopefully, car starts up, runs great, and no more misfire. I hope you found this video helpful. If you have a question, please leave it in the comments. I try to answer everybody. Thanks for watching, everybody. Don't forget to subscribe.